Bonjour. Hello. I am Joy Kane, and I'm greeting you from my studio in New York as I'm unable to be with you today at the Congrès. First, I wish to thank Director Sylvia Del Bianco, Pascal Rochat, Hélène Nicolet, Marie-Laure Bachmann, and the Committee of the Congress for making it possible for me to show you my latest work via video. My story begins with my mother's angry call to me, a precocious 5-year-old, seated at the piano where I was supposed to be practicing the lesson I had just been taught. "Quit banging," she yelled. "Quit that banging." My method of practicing was to simply ask the teacher to play the pieces just one more time so I could imitate and memorize what I had learned. And as for scales, I didn't practice them as I just didn't see the point. I eventually exhausted the patience of both mother and teacher. Every single lesson ended with, "If you don't practice now, you'll regret it the rest of your life." And I have. Piano lessons did end, but I kept playing and playing what I liked, discovering, inventing, not reading, copying whatever I heard on the radio, but only on the white keys. And in time, my passion for music simply turned into a passion for dance. Aren't they the same things, really? Fast forward. When I was 19 years old, Mother decided that the best way to get me out of the house and out of my depressed state was to enroll me in Cleveland's prestigious Institute of Music. I auditioned in front of the director, but imagine his surprise when I unapologetically executed, no pun intended, Ravel's Pavane pour un enfant défunt in C major. For, as you may know, but I didn't, the piece is written in G major. I was admitted to the Institute, where from the very first classes till the end of my studies, I was enchanted by the theoretical subjects: counterpoint, harmony, composition. Piano, not so much, for I still wasn't much of a sight reader, and I had only a few easy keys at my fingertips. In fact, the piano department threatened to fail me, and still, I didn't see the point of scales. When people asked me what instrument I played, I said archly, brains, to hide my shame about my pianistic inadequacy. Fast forward. It is now 1964, and I am in my mid-30s living in New York and making a living by accompanying modern dance classes. And, believe it or not, I was still getting by with my white key scales, slightly spiced up by the then fashionable pounding, hammering, and plucking on the strings, or rolling the lower arm across the black keys while pressing the pedal to make fake Debussy. I alternated dance accompanying with gigs in piano bars until some dangerous entanglements caused me to feel insecure in that milieu. Then Mother intervened once more with a command: go back to school, get a degree, and a serious daytime job. I decided to go back to music school and become a teacher. But at the age of 38, I was considered too old by all of New York's music schools, except one, the Dalcroze School of Music in New York, directed by Dr. Hilda Schuster, herself a student of Émile Jacques Dalcroze. The Dalcroze training was paradise to me. Movement, music, improvisation, all that I loved to do was encompassed in this one discipline. The brilliance of Dalcroze solfège, or solfège autrement, as Marie-Laure Bachmann calls it, with all scales anchored on fixed do, changed the studies of scales and modes from boring to exciting. I familiarized myself with the concept of polychords, chains of notes having specific shapes, rather than thinking of the notes one by one. Soon I was teaching Dalcroze eurythmics myself. I composed and played my own pieces to stimulate and support classroom activities. Once again, bypassing personal work on piano technique and scales. 5-8, 5-8, don't hesitate, swing right along in 5-8, 5-8, time to syncopate, hurry, don't be late, rush and then you wait, run the rhythm round and round, you found it. 5-8, 5-8, come sing a song in 5-8, 5-8. Fast forward again. 1983 finds me teaching vocal improvisation at jazz festivals in the south of France. That's where I first met Jean-Marc Escherman, and accompanying my own classes on the piano. People started asking me to teach them to play jazz, or as they said in the south of France in '83, play jazzy. Obliged to come up with something that would work well in a short time, I showed my students how to roll the right hand so as to form a tetrachord with a blues sound. A, C, D, E flat, played over simple dominant chords, 1, 7, 4, 7, 5, 7, lands you right in the blues. For purists among you, you can spell this blue tetrachord A, B sharp, C double sharp, D sharp. This was the beginning of my thinking of the hand and fingers as one unit, as a paw, A, C, D, E flat, or a three-fingered claw, E, G, G sharp, a quick and easy formula based on the shape of the hand rather than conceiving of them note by note as I always had. You may ask, what about the fifth finger, or as we say in the USA, the pinky? In playing scales, it is used to launch or finish off a tetrachord, transforming it into a pentachord, a five-note chain, or in the Chopin position, illustrated perfectly in playing the altered scale, featuring a whole tone pentachord. careful, finger by finger, with what I'm calling the Chopin hand. Whole tone pentachord, whole tone pentachord. A whole tone pentachord in mirror image. And I'm going to finish off the scale, the altered scale, with a little Phrygian ending. Phrygian trichord, Phrygian claw, Chopin hand, a whole tone pentachord. Now listen to it in mirror image. Fast forward again to 2013. As a result of a stroke I had in March of that year, my left leg and foot became incapacitated, and my arm and my hand were very much compromised too, rendering them unable to execute my mental commands, my automatisms, my impulses and inspirations. My right side was intact, but the left side was pretty much inert. When asked, does practicing scales improve brain function? A prominent neuroscientist responded this way: no, not unless they are played in contrary motion. I remembered something that my favorite piano teacher used to say: the right hand teaches the left. And there are physical therapy exercises I knew of in which one injured part of the body mirrors the same well-functioning body part on the opposite side until both are working in harmony, symmetrically, forming a mirror image. I started playing with mirror images on the keyboard. I would place my two thumbs on middle D, that's the middle of the keyboard, and soon I was making a small butterfly shape by placing wings on the next black notes. Then I made a larger butterfly by placing the left thumb on A, the right thumb on G, and spreading the other fingers out thus. Playing them all together, I had unwittingly formed the Hungarian double harmonic scale in topographical symmetry. Sometimes I chanted as I played. For example, group of 3, group of 4 notes. Or play a claw, now play a paw. A trichord, a tetrachord. I would chant these things as I ran up and down the scale. As fervent Dalcrozians, we employ as many senses as possible to transform ideas and information into experience. Not only did the two hands moving in contrary motion produce a lovely exotic sound, it also felt sensuous and satisfyingly symmetric in both shape and effort. For many days, I would go to the keyboard and engage my faltering left hand in the task of mirroring the healthy right hand until they could both play the scale with equal efficiency. It occurred to me that this was, at last, the perfect time to work on all the scales that I had never practiced. So I set about to discover the position in which two hands playing the same major scale in contrary motion could be made to work in perfect topographical symmetry. Let's start with the scale of A-flat major. The topography is marked by 4 elevated black keys, while the other notes are to be played on the white keys. Applying the principle white notes short finger, black notes long fingers to reach with, I arrived at the position of C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat. In other words, a trichord, a tetrachord, a trichord, a tetrachord. Starting from the common tone, a kind of hinge, I looked for the descending mirror image in the left hand, and I found the hand position that produced an exact topographically symmetrical mirror image. I could chant again, play a claw, now play a paw. Or I could chant, a trichord, a tetrachord. Play a claw, now play a paw. Each of my hands would now be mirroring the other exactly on the keyboard. I kept going until I arrived at the tonic in the bass. That would be A flat. At this point, the top note in the soprano was E flat. So I did stop there and then retraced my path to bring my scale back to its common tone. Thereby forming a kind of a keyboard palindrome, like Anna or kayak. Thus, F, G, A flat, B flat in the right hand, G, F, E flat, D flat in the left. Play a claw, now play a paw, play a claw, now play a paw, and finish on a little dissonance. Starting from the outside. After exploring the 12 major keys and arranging them to be played in topographical symmetry, or, as my editor says, ergonomically, other scales beckoned. The rendering of the major scales in topographical symmetry formed proved so intriguing that I went on to do the same with other scales, such as the octatonic or the whole tone, etc., playing each of them in various rhythms. You will find them all in the subsequent volumes of Paws and Claws, plus some topographically symmetric harmonizations of commonly known tunes. I'll say au revoir until soon. Bye.